second creation story, that's right, there are two, but that's a story for a different day. We learned that God felt that it was not right for Adam to be alone. And so God created a second person, an Ezer Kenegdo. Now, our Torah usually translates this as a fitting helper. But the word Kenegdo actually means something that is an opposite or contrary. So what God did is create an opposite for Adam. God knew that it wasn't a good idea to have two people who are exactly the same. God knew that it was important to have different ideas and different perspectives. Now, we have spent a lot of time with our family lately, and we might be very aware of the parts of our children or our spouses that are opposite or contrary to us. But if we look at this framework, understanding that there is holiness in being surrounded by people who are different than you, it can change our perspective. To have people around us who push and pull us in ways that we might not like, but eventually appreciate. To have people that we can learn and grow from. And so as we move into Yom Kippur, we think about the people in our lives who we may not have shown the best version of ourselves to. And most of those people probably serve as an Ezer Kenegdo for us. Somebody who is a helper, but who is also our opposite and contrary. These are the people that we also show gratitude to for helping us become the people that we strive to be. We begin our holiday service by lighting our candles, and we invite up Jody, Steve, Jack, and Ella Schwartz to join us.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של יום הכיפורים. יה לה 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 לה, 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 יה לה 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 לה. Tonight's service is called the Kol Nidre service. This whole evening is called Kol Nidre night. And it's because the whole service is named after the prayer that we're about to hear, Kol Nidre, all the promises, all the vows. And the rabbis wrote this prayer so that we had the opportunity to ask forgiveness for all of the things we said we would do this year and we didn't do. And it asks us to be very careful about what we promise in the year to come. Judaism takes what we say very seriously. And when we make a commitment to someone, we cause all kinds of hurt and damage when we don't fulfill what we say we're going to do. Kol Nidre, we take time to reflect on this past year and the ways that we didn't do for ourselves and for our communities, for our families, the things we said we would. And it helps us really set the tone for the coming year of caution about what we promise.
וכינויי וכינוסי ושבועות דין דרנה ודאיש תבנה ודאחרימנה ודיאסר כל נדרה וסרה וחרמי וקונמי וכינויי וכינוסי ושבועות דין דרנה ודאיש תבנה ודאחרימנה ודיאזרנה הנפשתנה מיום כיפורים זה עד יום כיפורים הבא עד יום כיפורים הבא עלינו לטובה כל יחרדנה ואון כל הון יהון שרן שוויקין שוויתין בטלין ומבוטלין לא שירין ולא קיימין נדרנה לא נidre ואסרנה לא אסרה לא אסרה ושבועתנה לא שבועות
We rise together for the Baruch Hu as if standing makes its own statement that together our prayer and our connection is stronger. How incredibly fortunate are we to have a group of people to stand with, a group of people to hope with, a group of people to belong with. We rise for our Baruch Hu to recognize how lucky we are. And on this day of Yom Kippur, as we prepare to recognize the mistakes we've made, we stand tall to do that because we must do that with pride for who we are as ourselves and as a kehillah. Shema Yisrael, to listen and to speak at the same time. It sounds like a recipe for disaster, if I'm being honest. We all know that we have to at times stop and listen. But this is a divine challenge. We have to both hear all the voices of our tradition saying these words, as well as add our own voice to the collective. It is truly not an easy thing to do. But this isn't a holiday about easy. This is a day when we have to turn inward and wrestle with truths about ourselves. So for today, easy is not going to cut it.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'ha'amidenu Malkeinu Lechaim Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shalomecha V'taknenu b'etzah tova milfanecha v'hoshienu l'man shemecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom
Once there was a queen. She was known for being a very fair queen. In fact, she would bring in a lot of different people to help her make decisions, to make sure she was hearing all of the different voices. The other thing to know about this queen is that she had a lot of gold. I mean, she gave a lot of money to tzedakah, but she still had a lot of gold in her castle. Because in this days, people didn't have banks. They kept all their money at home. One night, she was told by one of her advisors that someone had tried to break into the castle and steal her gold. The queen was very concerned about this, and so she decided to station 2 guards downstairs to protect the gold at night. On the first night, they chatted, they ate snacks, they told each other about themselves, and the night passed with nothing too exciting. And the second night, and the third night, and the fourth night. But on the 8th night, the 2 guards started to talk about how much gold they were actually protecting. The first guard said, I mean, how much do you think she actually has in there? Probably so much that, if I took 1 or 2 coins, nobody would notice. The second guard did not think this was a good idea, and he said so, but the first guard ignored him, unlocking the door and quietly slipping inside for taking just a few coins. The next morning, at breakfast, the queen was told about what happened, and she met the 2 guards that night when they arrived for their shift. She said to them, I know that you have taken from my vault, and you will each receive a fair punishment. She turned to the first guard and said, you have taken 5 coins, and for that, your punishment will be 5 months in jail. And then she turned to the second guard and said, you will also receive a punishment of 5 months in jail. But the queen, I didn't do anything. I didn't actually take any of the gold. The queen turned to him and said, no, I know you didn't take any of the gold, but you also didn't stop it from happening. Our tradition tells us that we are not supposed to stand idly by. That means that if we see something happening, we are required to do our best to stop it. But queen, I did try to stop it. I told him he shouldn't take any. Okay, the queen thought to herself, technically you didn't do nothing. But are you really telling me that technically not doing nothing is the standard that you want to be held by? Don't you want to make sure that you're doing everything in your power to stop a wrong from happening? Finally, the second guard nodded to himself, understanding what the queen was saying to him. We know that there are many, many things wrong in our society. And we too should want to make sure that technically not doing nothing is not the standard that we are held to. Each one of us has the power and the ability and the resources to do everything we can to make sure that we are preventing wrongs from taking place in the world around us. And it is for us and for our families and for our children and for our entire community that we do these important works.
The rabbis originally wrote 6 verses for our vidui section, our confessional piece of the service. And as the years went on, they added more and more verses to this piece, almost to make the statement that they acknowledge there are more than 6 transgressions, 6 mistakes, 6 misdirections that one might make during the year. Their flexibility in acknowledging that was a profound statement that each of us have our own path and will make our own mistakes, but we're also responsible for the larger community's forgiveness. As we do our vidui, Cantor Frankel will chant the Al Chet piece, and voices of our community will join on, being vulnerable and honest with the mistakes they've made this year. I invite each of you at home to do the same thing. Turn to your loved ones, be honest, be real with the mistakes you've made, so that we can together own those mistakes and build forward with a better tomorrow.
For lying
to my friends instead of owning up to my truth.
For
fighting with friends over the smallest, most pointless reasons.
For
laughing at someone else instead of sticking up in their defense.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך.
For staying silent when the people around me were going through something.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך.
For not helping out my family around the house when I could have contributed.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך.
Thank you for sharing your truth, for being vulnerable. Thank you for being open and honest with the mistakes we've each made. So together as a community, we can rise and be better tomorrow.
We sing Oseh Shalom of a peace that sweeps over us, that renews us, that rejuvenates us, and brings us calm.
Shalom b'mroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol ha'olam. Oseh shalom b'mromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol ha'olam. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'yakol ha'olam.